Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom. How's it going?
Tony, another lovely Tuesday here inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. I was talking to people on our live chat during the live stream of the Ryan Day press conference and saying, when we say that it is a more relaxed Ryan Day this year, this is what we mean. You got like a legitimate laugh out of him. You know, last week we were talking about corn mazes and stuff. Today, you gave him the question where you kind of got Bill Landis to whip his head around, where you shouted out one of the other reporters in the room. Yeah. But you got a question. You got a good reaction from Ryan Day. A question about a good reaction from Ryan Day.
Yeah, and I did. Bill Landis tweeted this out a few days ago that on the first deep shot of the game, I think to Carnell Tate, the first deep shot of the third quarter to Carnell Tate, you can hear on the TV copy Ryan Day yelling, "Got him," as Julian Sayin is just about to unleash it. And I asked Ryan Day about it, and he chuckled and said that was a play that they put in at halftime. And they had not practiced it at all during the year. But this is something we've talked about over the course of the season, where you've got these smart, talented players who can do something essentially on the fly, draw this up in the dirt of the locker room and say, okay, we're going to do this. If we get this look, we're going to do it. And second play of the half, they got that look. Ryan Day yells, "Got him," and Julian Sayin hits him. And he said, I asked him, like, how often does that happen where you drop a play at the half? He's like, maybe a few times a year, because generally they stick with the plays that they've practiced 100 times.
Right. This is college football coaches by nature are, they want to have everything sort of in their control. And that's true of you don't want to get surprised as a college football coach. It's like a little like being an attorney where you want to know the answer to the question before you ask it. You want to kind of know the answer to things. You don't want to draw something up and go, well, I wonder how they'll respond to this. And this was a play that actually people were talking about on our board earlier in the week and kind of after the game, and someone was pointing out, I don't know if Will Kazmarek was in the right place. He probably should have bent the route off a little more. And it's like, well, I'm sure that's something that they've, it's probably a choice route, or it depends on which guy has leverage where, whatever it is. And then you hear that and it's like, oh, well, I understand why it wasn't perfectly executed by everyone on the field, and it still worked out just fine.
And this is the second time of that we know of. Carnell Tate on the slot touchdown 2 weeks ago, when Brandon Inniss was out, Ryan Day said that's a play that Carnell Tate has never run before, except for like in camp maybe. Uh-huh. And so twice Carnell Tate's like, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Just we'll do it live. That's Carnell Tate.
Well, I think this goes back to something that we talk about a lot of times, especially on the defensive side of the ball with, Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs doesn't just know what he's supposed to do. Caleb Downs knows what everyone on the field is supposed to do. This is why that's important, because then it's not, well, I'm the outside receiver. I'm the Z receiver on this play, and I know what the Z receiver is supposed to do, and the H receiver, well, that's his problem. He's got to figure that out. You can, if you know the playbook inside and out, and you know what all the responsibilities are, and you also know why all the responsibilities fit together in the way that they do, that makes it so much easier to just kind of go, all right, well, you go there. And that is not a luxury a lot of teams have. You look at how often you see teams where, the quarterback is sailing the ball 6 yards behind the wide receiver because he's running a streak, and he was supposed, the quarterback thought he was going to run it out, and who was right, who was wrong, I don't know. You don't see that with Ohio State, because these guys know where they're supposed to be, and they're in the right spot, and Julian Sayin knows where they're supposed to be, and then the ball's in the right spot, and that's, he's putting it on the spot. The accuracy is not an issue with him. So as long as the receiver knows where he's supposed to be, and Julian Sayin knows where that guy is supposed to be, the receiver and the ball tend to show up in the same spot, and then you complete 87% of your passes.
The hater that you know me to be, I did finally go through and put a supercut of all of Julian Sayin's Big Ten incompletions together and tweeted it out.
It's like the opposite of the Cam Martinez, nothing but all touchdowns, high school and highlight reel.
And the thing is, there are legitimately, like, of the 130 some passes, there's like 8 uncatchable passes. Mm-hmm. There's a handful of throwaways. There's some that are tipped at the line. There's like maybe one drop. But other than that, it's just like the incompletions are, and it's just like not crazy off, but like you could, some of these were like Joel Klatt would be like, well, that's a bad route. Like he's not even blaming Julian Sayin on these.
Well, he's a quarterback, so.
But a lot of the talk today was about Julian Sayin and his play and how advanced he is. And I think Bill Rabinowitz asked him, like, where is he better than some of your other quarterbacks? Like, is he a more accurate quarterback than C.J. Stroud? And Dave's like, well, you're going to try to get me in trouble with C.J. Stroud, and he's like, that's fine for you, but it's not fine for me. And what he did say is, like, his mind and his arm are just on point, and it's not just the mind and the arm, the footwork, all of that, it all goes together. And you see that when, as Day is yelling, got him, the ball is being, thrown, and he is legitimately on point, and it all works together, and it looks so easy.
Yeah, well, it looks so easy because, if the receivers got the correct leverage on the defensive back, which I think was what he was looking for in that moment, then that means he's going to be where he needs to be, and you certainly know the ball's going to be where he needs to be. So then you do know, this is like the Ryan Day version of, those old shots of Lane Kiffin throwing his play sheet in the air like 2 seconds after the snap, which I think ticked Nick Saban off to no end. But when you're the head coach, you can yell whatever you want. It's fine. Yeah, Julian Sayin, the mechanical stuff. I mean, I feel like we can have the conversation about the mental part of the game. Or the mechanical part of the game, and have the same conversation where it's like, I don't think you understand how difficult this is, but also how important it is and how precise they are with all this stuff, the mental piece, the mechanical piece, all that kind of stuff. Because how often do we watch, we watch other games in their entirety for shows that we do on Monday, where sometimes you're like, don't care for those mechanics quite at all. They look so good with Julian Sayin. Brian Day talked about a video from over the summer when Sayin was out in California, and it wasn't quite like the old Johnny McEntee trick shot video, but it was kind of like, he's making throws that are like,
it's the BYU quarterback throw.
Yeah. Well, Bear Bachmeier.
No,
Zach. Zach Jets draft pick.
Yes.
Yeah. Zach.
Heisman candidate for legitimately 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Almost number
Wilson.
one pick.
Zach Wilson. There we go. Got there. We got there eventually. You're making these throws where you're off. You're rolling left, and you're throwing with right hand. And you have to twist your body, and you can launch it, and it's 60 yards. And Ryan Day, said he looked at the video and kind of went, "That's great. Never do that again. Never ever. If you do that again, I'm not letting you go back to California." And he was probably mostly kidding, but I think his exact phrase was, "We don't do that here."
Yeah.
And you will see quarterbacks do that where it's like you're rolling right and like, well, I have the arm strength to do this, and I think I can fit it in this window, or I think I can make this throw. Yeah. Don't think. Do what you know you can do. And he has the arm strength, he has the accuracy, he has the mechanics, he has the smarts to be able to make throws off platform. That's one thing. If you're rolling right and it's hey, you're not exactly set with your feet perfectly, the perfect shoulder length apart and exactly the right stride. You're going to have to make throws off platform sometimes. That's fine. And you're set up as well as you can possibly be set up mechanically and all the other stuff to do that well. Make off-platform throws. Don't make stupid throws.
Yeah.
And he has done a great job not making stupid throws this season.
I'm just trying to think of, there are very few stupid throws, and you don't want to accuse somebody of being stupid, but
smart people do stupid stuff.
Yes,
that is a thing that happens sometimes.
I sure do. One of the as I distract myself with that, but overall, what he has done so far this year, it's been more than expected. The expectations are very high, but he has lived up to all of them. And you talk about his mechanics. Nothing that he does looks mechanical, which is it all looks natural. And you see a lot of times where these quarterbacks are trying to change what they do normally to fit the mechanics, and they end up looking mechanical, and it never looks right. Whereas everything that he does looks like this is they haven't had to change anything about it, except that's not true either.
Right. They've had to tweak stuff, but I think number one, you've got some very, very talented quarterback teachers on this coaching staff. And number two, Sayin is someone who you don't get to this level without being he is not a Cam Newton. He is not a Terrell Pryor where it's just like the shocking combination of size and strength and athleticism. He is a somewhat normal. You could put Julian Sayin in the middle of a classroom and he wouldn't stand out as you can pick from the back of Hitchcock 131. That's the guy who's who is the freakish athlete, he just has put in the work, and I think has probably had some very good quarterback coaching over the years, going back to high school and private coaching and all that kind of stuff as well. But you get all that stuff ironed out, and then you're also adaptable enough, or you're intelligent enough that you can sort of pick up, okay, do this a little differently, and then you figure it out, you get it right, and then you rep it, and you rep it, and you rep it, and you rep it, and you rep it. That's how you're throwing these balls that look effortless down the field. It's like, this looks easy because of all the hard work that happened in the previous 12 months where the throw to Jeremiah Smith or the throw to Carnell Tate, whatever it is, the one play they hadn't run, but he's probably made that basic throw, thousands of times, because then that's how that's how I know exactly how fast Carnell Tate's going to run and exactly where Carnell Tate's going to go, and then I can put the ball directly on that spot where, Jeremiah Smith on the one didn't break stride, he didn't move his hands. He was just in stride and and then the ball just appeared there like it got edited into the video. It was, but you see those throws all the time, and I think it's very easy to look and go, yeah, well, that's what they do. It's like, I don't know that you appreciate exactly how much work, the February days inside the indoor here, and then the June days, before camp, and the July days when it's 97 degrees outside and 120 on that artificial turf. That's what makes that possible.
Yeah, and so now it's award preseason, where you've got these watch lists and semifinalists coming out. I did want to ask, because Ohio State did drop Heisman websites for Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sayin. One of the questions I wanted to ask is, did you sign off on that? And is that difficult for you to do as a head coach? Because he knows that is not any priority for the team, but it's something that is a byproduct of stellar play for the team. But he has said in the past, our quarterbacks should be Heisman finalists. That's a thing. But again, that's a byproduct of, one, recruiting well, and he also said he wants Ohio State to be QBU. He wants it to be every position U. So these are all byproducts of recruiting, development, this and that. And so it's like, he said, he was asked if it's important to have a Heisman finalist, and it's like, it's all important. Everything's important, but it's not a priority. And if everybody's playing well, I don't think things would have to go poorly right now for Julian Sayin not to be a finalist for the Heisman and beyond.
Yeah. If Ohio State handles their business throughout the regular season, you beat Michigan, which is, that's the single biggest goal. That's the next big team goal. They'll tell you they want to win every week, but the 3 goals every year: beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, win the national championship. Well, you get through the next 3 weeks, and then you have goal number 1. And if they beat Michigan, he's going to New York. If you do that, and then you get team goal number 2, and you beat Indiana or whoever it is in the Big Ten championship game, you're winning the Heisman, almost certainly. And then but that's not the goal. Is not for him to win the Heisman. The goal is to do the things that would allow him to win the Heisman. Now, as the head coach of a college football team, remember all the stuff I talked about with college football coaches wanting to control everything and not want. I can almost guarantee you that Ryan Day signed off on that and said, yes, you can. Yes, you can do that, because you're not surprising your head coach with that kind of stuff.
It's fine, stop asking, just do it.
Right? Yeah. No, it's and this is sort of like the price of doing business, basically. Here's the thing about that. That doesn't take any time for Julian Sayin. That doesn't take any time for Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith's not sitting there coding his own website. He's
GeoCities.
They have GeoCities.com/Coliseum/Lowe's/Jeremiah Smith for Heisman. Yes, it was a
good memories.
Thank you very much. It is a. This is something that's about Jeremiah Smith, not done by Jeremiah Smith. And Jeremiah Smith was out here working or watching film or whatever while they were putting all that stuff together. And so, that's one of those things where it's kind of like the price of doing business, but that in and of itself is not a distraction unless you allow it to be one.
Something that is not necessarily a distraction, but could be an issue, is the offensive line health, where we saw Josh Padilla, Luke Montgomery, and Taker Shabola all leave the game late. Ryan, it doesn't sound like anything long-term. He said, to be entirely cryptic, 2 of those guys will be back, are back. 1 won't be, but maybe moving forward will be good to go.
Yeah. So you have to take the fox across first. You take the chicken across first, then you bring it. Like I'm sitting there going, okay, well then if it's him, but it's not him, So they will have two guys who have played guard with the ones this season at practice today. We'll see. Wednesday night we may see if someone's not dressed or whatever. But this is a game where. If you have if you have 5 of your top 6 offensive linemen, you'll be fine this week. It will be okay. This is a point where, boy, you'd probably love to have another off week, but they don't. They don't have any more off weeks until at least after the regular season and potentially into December. This is, they've got to just sort of figure it out. This is not the first time they've had to do a little bit of a guard shuffle during the calendar year 2025. They did that during the playoff and shuffled guys in and out, and they'll figure it out. It's not the end of the world, but you also losing guys, especially Tager. Tager was like the last snap of the game, the last snap before it reminded me a little bit of Demetrius Knox against Michigan in 2018, where he broke his, I think it was a Least Frank injury in his foot, and he broke his foot right, it was like the last play, I think, of the game, or one of the last plays of the 2018 Michigan game. And then they had to put, who did they put in there? It was
Matt Burrell?
No, it was
Enoch Famahi.
It was someone who was like a pretty significant guard who ended up stepping up and playing a bunch in 2019 and 2020. I'm now forgetting who it was, but it was the same thing. It was like very end of the game. Everything's decided, that's really a bummer of a time to have an injury like that.
The first college football playoff rankings will be released tonight. Mm-hmm. We will be going live and talking about that beforehand, and then afterwards we'll continue to talk about it. Ryan Day said he does not care, does not matter. If they don't win this next game, the rankings don't matter. Mm-hmm. He said it's going to be on because there are TVs everywhere. He will not be watching it. Tom, shouldn't he just call a team meeting and be like, we're all watching this. Stop what you're doing. We're watching this. We're going to be ranked number 1. And then when they're ranked number 2, he could be like, I am so mad.
so mad. Wyatt Davis was the answer.
There you
yes,
go. Good job.
I kept thinking it was someone who was like a really good player who stepped in and filled in, and that was Wyatt Davis filling in the Rose Bowl that year for Demetrius Knox. Yeah, this is the same answer you get every year, mm-hmm. and if you're number 1, it doesn't matter at all. If you're number 2, then a team that probably is, not as rich with motivation as they probably could be, great, you can just say, here you go, here's some motivation. My expectation is they won't be number 1. My expectation is Indiana will probably be number 1, and then Ohio State 2, Texas A&M 3 maybe, but and he's right. This is very much a handle your business and everything else takes care of itself. And if you don't handle your business, it doesn't matter if you're number 1. I mean, first college football playoff rankings reveal ever, 2014, number 1 Mississippi State, who did not end up making the college football playoff that year. I think they might have lost 3 games that year. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but number 1 Indiana will still kind of be like a woo. I'll give you the look that Bill Landis gave you during the press conference. Like, what? Number 1 Indiana.
That's my name.
I understand. I understand everything. I understand the Chris Signetti thing. I understand Indiana number 1. I don't disagree with Indiana number 1. But still, your brain goes, what?
Mm-hmm. But when you said Mississippi State, it kind of did the same thing a long time ago. Ryan was asked about the running backs. Mentioned something we saw as well. James Peoples running hard at the end, and hopefully that's a spark forward. So he's been practicing better as well. But seeing that, Bo Jackson has been handling practice. He's been handling the emotional and mental weight of the position that he's playing, the role that he's in right now. So that's good to see. I also thought, and we'll talk about this in our Penn State game rewatch that we've got coming up later in the hours, basically. But I thought Bo Jackson had a really good game in terms of seeing things better and not just maybe running, kind of with a laser focus on the ground or where the play is supposed to be. So I think he's happy with the way the running backs are developing, and I would agree at this point.
Yeah, I think you're seeing progress, and I think I thought the running back mix in terms of the rotation was kind of interesting. You saw all 4 guys getting somewhere between 4 and 12 or so carries. But it was, I thought you saw some good stuff from each guy, and it's not, this is not the final product, and that's okay. It's not supposed to be the final product right now. They've got a couple more weeks. I think you're going to see them continue to spread those carries around, because you don't have to figure out this week who your top 2 is. You run all of them, you see how they look. You probably keep guys more engaged if they know they have the opportunity to play that weekend. And then also, you're limiting the hits, you're limiting the reps, you're limiting we talk all the time about how the average NFL career for running back is like 3 years. And that's because it takes such a physical toll to play it at such a high level. You're going to potentially, again, have Michigan, Indiana, and 3 or 4 college football playoff games after that. That's half a season of high-level competition. You're going to need as many of those guys healthy and ready to go as you can.
Just thinking like Michigan maybe down to 1 back that they know. And is it better to have 1 back that you know or 4 that you're still learning about? I guess we'll find that out down the road. One of the questions that I found funny was, I forget who asked it, but hey, Ryan, we haven't talked to Matt Patricia in a while. How's he doing?
He still work here?
How's he think the defense is going? And, Ryan's like, well, you'd have to ask him, but...
We would love to.
He said the communication and I forget the exact quote, but like the communication and the gelling of the staff has gone well, and players have certainly gone well also. Other than that, there's no update on how the defense is doing.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what the stats say. The stats stay just fine. But yeah, beyond that, there's a certain amount of, you almost, like, well, what's he going to say? Like, it's going to be the old Chris Farley, Paul McCartney, like, hey, remember when you were in the Beatles? Hey, remember when you were we're doing all the stuff that no defense had done since, they had a graphic on the Ohio State-Penn State game, which was new to us, not necessarily new to most of the fan base, but, the 4 teams that had given up, not allowed 17 points in the first 8 games, all 4 of them are like, oh, that was a really good team. And all 4 of them won the national championship, and Ohio State joined that club on Saturday. Yeah,
and so there's some other stuff with the defense as well in terms of, I'm sorry, I'm hearing something in my ear.
Yeah. That's tinnitus.
What was it? You got anything else?
That was the stuff that I had,
yeah, okay. And just there was no panic at halftime, is what Ryan Day said about the giving up that play late, the quick change touchdown, and he's like, and I asked, like, I wanted to know, like, was there any reaction from the defense? And Patricia and the assistant coaches are like, yeah, there's no concerns. We're all good here, sir. So, anything else? You good?
No, there you go. We got 2 more podcasts to do today, so don't worry.
So, and go. But yeah, we will definitely be back. We got a lot of stuff coming this week, as you guys know. First, CFP rankings tonight. So again, we will be live on YouTube, youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle, talking about that and the complete injustice that we have witnessed. And then we'll have some thoughts from the CFP committee chair himself or herself.
Him, Rich Clark.
Their self. So there you go. So if you could hit the thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, and a 5-star rating and review if you're finding us via an audio podcast platform. So thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you all later.